will the virtuous Sangha, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hồi cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh, tịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Saranto Suchedo Ye Ulahudi San Miao San Puto Ye. Nam mô Tạng Đắc Tha Tu Ya Đà Ya La Ha Đê Tam Hiệu Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the less come one's true and actual principles. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Jingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Left-Home people, and all good no advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、清凉大士、师父上人、各位持者人、各位善知识、阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư, Ngài Tinh Hoa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the last day of July, it's the 31st, 2021. Thank you all for coming to attend this discussion of the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra written by Great Master Jingliang. This is a little bit, it seems it could be a little bit difficult to understand for you, but it's not about understanding. When we learn Buddhism, it's understanding is only second. It will come naturally. The real purpose of doing all this is just to still your mind, relax, and let your hearing pick up the information and shelve it, because this is meant to be seeds, superior seeds, to be planted in your consciousness, and down the road eventually will sprout. When conditions are right, it will sprout into some beautiful, beautiful things, very useful things, not only for yourself, but for family, for your community, for the whole world. Okay, so that's the seeds of wisdom we were talking about. So just relax and just listen. Okay, and don't try to understand. It's something that you want to, that bothers you, it's not clear to you, you want some clarification, please feel free to ask and anytime about anything. Okay. In fact, this it's not about Buddhism, it's about how magical it is. In the past, I remember the stories of the shogun. Anyone knows the shoguns in Japan? These used to be military governors. They are like prime ministers nowadays. But so they serve the emperor, but they're in charge of the army, and therefore the real power is in their hands. And I remember this guy here, so they're fighting a lot of these lords, fighting each other, and eventually one of them, I forgot his name, Dharma or something like that, defeated all the other lords and became a shogun, the first shogun of Japan. Okay. And that's when the beginning of the era, flourishing era of the samurais, you will. So it's very glorious history. So before that, just before that, there were a lot of feudal lords that were fighting each other. There's one in particular who is so confident. Okay, whenever he went to battle, he won. Okay, and why is it so? Because he's a fantastic general. Okay, and what is his secret? He would go and lay siege or engage in a battle. And what does he do? Okay, the night before, what does he do to prepare for battle? He would be by himself, pick up what? A Buddhist sutra. Okay, and he would read it. That's what he did to prepare for battle. Would you believe? And he's unbeatable. He conquered everyone until he got shot by an arrow, and he died before he could unite the country. But if it weren't for that fatal arrow, he would have united all of Japan, because he's undefeated in every single battle he engaged in, and he found the winning formula every single time, every single battle, by preparing for it, by reading a Buddhist sutra. That's what he did. He didn't call the general command and talk about, this and that. No, because back then when you engaged in battle, he would sit there in central command, and he would have a fan and say, and that's how he deployed the army. So he knew what to do. Okay? Totally unpredictable. Okay. So my point here is that these Buddhist sutras, whether you're Buddhist or not, they have some magical power that all you have to do is read it and read it and read it, and the mind will relax. When your mind relaxes, okay, let them make noise. We're so used to screaming kids and people hitting my drum and bell and so forth. And it got to the point where we don't care anymore. We learn to be deaf in one ear and listen with the other. You see, that's part of our practice. Okay, so ignore them. When my master YongHua was alive, you can hear. I wasn't there, but you can hear in the background when he was lecturing, kids screaming and and yelling and crying and so forth, and we learn to ignore them. That's called Buddhist abuse of children. Just ignore them. Okay. Anyway, don't let it bother you. Let them be. Whatever they do, they scream here. They they break things. It's okay. We'll let the air out of the parents' tires later. Okay. So my point here is this: try this. Why don't you try this for size? Whenever you have a major decision to make, okay, the best way to make a decision is do your homework. Okay, so that general did his homework. He knew his opponent, he knew the terrain, he did that already. And instead of sitting there the night before and worry about the battle, what did he do? He read the sutra. It relaxed him. Okay? The sutra has a way of relaxing you. Okay? And when your mind relaxes, the answer comes to you naturally without thinking. So when you do that, in Buddhism it's called using your wisdom to solve problems instead of using your thinking mind to solve problems. Does it make sense? Think about it. You might want to try this one of these days when you have a major problem, major decision to make. Okay? I would read a sutra. Okay, just read one word after another. Don't try to understand. Just read and read, and pretty soon you keep on reading, and that's interesting. Okay, just keep on reading. Don't try to understand, and eventually your mind will settle down, and whatever problems worries you, the solution will come naturally without thinking about it. And you, college kids or students, have the same thing. It's the same exact thing. When I was in high school, I had some math problems I couldn't solve. And usually the solution came to me after I slept on those problems. A similar kind of process, but this is more efficient. When you, instead of sleeping, you read a sutra, and it relaxes your thinking mind. That's when you have the best decisions, the better solutions come along without thinking. And that's your Buddha nature. That's your inherent wisdom that you're deploying by doing that. It works for anyone. All right? That's why we're doing this. We're doing this because this is the highest wisdom in Buddhism. It's also the highest wisdom available, we Buddhists think, in the universe. So this has all these secrets here, of course. They're so profound that we can't expect to understand everything. But so that's why Buddhism is about depth. So therefore, we plant the seeds first. Okay? And eventually those seeds will mature, will sprout when it's time to sprout. Okay? So the Buddhist practice is to plant seeds. Great seeds. That's how it all begins. You plant the great seeds in your consciousness. All right? So it's time well spent, believe me. So instead of focusing on, I don't get it, it's just about relaxing. And when your mind is relaxed, great things happen. Okay? I found that's the case. Even now, when I need to make a decision, I don't sit there and think. Again, I do my research and then meditate, and all of a sudden, answer came. Through meditation, not by thinking, like the engineers. All right? Yeah. Okay, so last time we talked about when the Buddha conveyed his wisdom to us, shared his wisdom with us. He uses various forms of words in order to teach us or to share his wisdom, and they're classified into 12 different types. Prose, meaning it's just regular language. Repetitive verses are when they're so important, these concepts are so important, he would compose a verse to repeat the concept from a different perspective. So it's repetition, but from a different angle. It is so clever, so ingenious, you will. So we talk about these things. Where were we the last time? I think we never finished. It's slide number 32. Did we? Anyone remember where we were? Analogies, for example. I don't know anyone in the human realm who is masterful as the Buddhas in the use of analogies. When he tried to explain something so profound, you try to explain everything, it's not possible. So what the Buddha says, because it's so profound you cannot understand, the easy way is for me to give you an analogy so that your mind will identify with that, connect with that a lot easier. Okay, and that's why his analogies throughout the Buddhist canon is masterful. He's a virtuoso, if you ask me. Okay, I found, like over 80% of the analogies I read from him, I love them. The other 20%, I wasn't that impressed, probably because I didn't understand, didn't appreciate them enough. Okay, but to me, the analogy is incredible. And you talk about our past lives, when you talk about these great men, it's like history lessons, if you will, of great success. Okay, that's why you talk about their history, their life stories. It's the present life. In his present life is how he got there right now, how he became a Buddha, and so forth, to show us how to succeed, how to achieve great things. Okay, expansions, and then either explanations. Okay, did you go through this? Did we? We did. Why didn't you stop me?
We're on page 33.
33. Thank you so much. I'm glad you reminded me. Okay, and for this particular sutra, it's so big. It is the ultimate wisdom in the universe. Okay, believe me, this is so profound. Yeah, and so in order to teach us humongous store of wisdom, okay, that describe everything there is to know, the marks or whatever you want to observe, you can observe in the universe, the entire universe, it described here in this sutra. Okay, that's why it's considered the king of the sutra. It's considered the ultimate Buddhist wisdom. Okay, and so in order to do this, he had to convene assemblies. Okay, now how these great students get together, these great bodhisattvas get together. So they have these 9 gatherings. Okay, at 7 different locations. Okay, so that's how the sutra was taught. It's okay, let him be. Eventually he'll fall off the platform and yeah, and he's fine. He's having fun. Who could stop a kid from having fun? What kind of adults are you? Seriously, because we're listening to sutras? Even when we listen to sutras, we cannot stop the kids from having fun. Right, kid? Okay, so what are these 9 assemblies, these 9 times where the great, the best and the brightest got together? The best and brightest are referred here to the bodhisattvas. This sutra here is so profound that he has explained it to the bodhisattvas. Okay, and the first place, the first assembly was right at the Bodhi tree when the Buddha became a Buddha. He sat there under the Bodhi tree, and so he became a Buddha. And then he says, "What do I do now? I'm a Buddha." He says, "Oh, I better share my highest level wisdom." That's why I became a Buddha, because only Buddhas have this ultimate wisdom. So if you become a Buddha, what do? You must share it. You see the Buddhist tradition here? When you have something of value to society, it's your responsibility to share it. Okay? To do good by sharing it, by sharing your wisdom. You're not supposed to keep it for yourself. That's the difference between the Buddhists versus worldly people. Worldly people do things in order to keep it for themselves, to benefit themselves. Buddhists who have wisdom do things in order to benefit others. Okay? Hey kid, you trying to tell me something? See, the Koreans are horrified. They say, I never saw a monk with a kid like that before. Is he creating offenses? Absolutely. Is he going to go to hell? Probably. That's his just reward. So you see, we always have a last laugh. He will fall to the hells, and we have a laugh. Look at the Koreans. They say, oh my God, I cannot believe this. Oh well. So that's part of the Buddhist practice, by the way. Nothing bothers us, including mischievous kids. Okay? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, yes, if it bothers you, work on it. Okay, so he became a Buddha, and he said, first act as a Buddha, I will pardon the kids. I will speak the the Avatamsaka Sutra. First act. Okay, that is wisdom, a tremendous beneficial act from a Buddha. So far, so good. Okay, number two, and then he would go to the Universal Light Palace, which is a Jeta Grove. That's where his first way place was. A rich man back then was so impressed with him. He says, "Where's your temple?" The Buddha says, "What temple? Since when do I need temples?" So the rich man, Sudana, says, "Well, you have all these disciples, thousands of people listening to you. Where did they go?" "Well, we all sit under a tree." So the rich man says, that's not acceptable. So let me find you a way place where you can take care of these people. And so he founded the Jeta Grove. He bought it from the Jeta Prince, so that's why it's called Jeta Grove. And he paid extremely high price. The price was to cover the grounds, a huge area. Not sure how many thousands of acres. We're not sure. Okay, but the price was to cover the ground with gold. Okay, it's horribly expensive, and the rich man says, "Okay, no price is too much for the Buddha." Okay, so he bought it. So the Jeta Grove, that's where the second assembly took place in that Dharma speaking hall called Universal Light Palace. YouTube has a question.
Tiango asks, if the Avatam is so profound for the Bodhisattvas, the greatest ones only, then what is the purpose for the sutra to come into contact with us? Does it mean those hearing it now are Bodhisattvas too?
Very good. Many of those hearing now are actually Bodhisattvas. Okay, so they still need to be spoken. So that's why it's initially the Buddha wasn't known yet, so that only the Bodhisattvas knew that the Buddha was speaking Dharma, was speaking the sutra. So they came immediately without any advertisement, any kind of announcement at all. They knew. Whereas later, and at that time, basically, even the Arhats, his disciples, didn't know either. Okay, so he didn't have any disciples anyway at that time. Later, he had disciples and so forth, and still they were not qualified to listen to this Dharma, this particular Avatamsaka Sutra, until something like 600 years later, after he died, that's when the sutra was surfaced. We know more. We learn more about this later. Okay, so absolutely, yeah. The sutra is available because of the people who are qualified to receive this teaching. When you're not qualified, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to appear in the world at all. So yes, there are plenty of people who are qualified. And the qualified people are, number one, the bodhisattvas, okay, who are around. There are lots of bodhisattvas around, by the way. And number two, also there are a lot of people who are not bodhisattvas yet, but who have the potential to become bodhisattvas. Okay, meaning they have the great bodhisattva roots. I mean, they have so much potential that they themselves will become bodhisattvas for sure. And this sutra is then made available in order to accelerate the growth of these special individuals. Okay, and it could be you. Maybe you're not a bodhisattva, and you say, me? Absolutely. Okay, right now you are quite unremarkable, but you never know. You may have some hidden, there's some hidden gems. You're a hidden gem. It could be a diamond in the rough. It's a matter of polishing you, and you become a diamond. All right? Number 3, Trayastrimsha, and that's the heaven of the Christian God. And went up there to speak the sutra. Number 4, Suyama heaven. That's Suyama, I believe, is heaven in the Zion realm, level 3. Okay, in that heaven, time, there's no time, so time is kept by the lotus opening or closing. So you can tell day and night. Excuse me. When you can tell day and night when the lotus closes or opens up. Okay, that's how time is kept in that heaven, on that heaven. Number 5, Tushita heaven. That's where Maitreya Bodhisattva is residing right now, waiting to come down and be the next Buddha. Okay. Number 6, heaven of comfort gained from others' transformation. Okay, this is basically the heaven where the heavenly demons are. That's where they live. My late father, who was a monk, disciple of Master Shenhua, he went up there after he died. This heaven is very famous because that's where the big shot demons live, and it is said that those heavenly made in that heaven are irresistible. Okay, it's worthwhile to go there for vacation, if those of you who are curious. Right? Number 7, it's the 7th assembly, a Universal Light Palace. Okay. Number 8, a Universal Light Palace again. Number 9, Jetta Grove. Why? Why these 9 assemblies? Okay. First one. Okay, let's go through quickly why we need 9 assemblies to explain this particular sutra. Okay, first of all, the Bodhi way place, meaning the Bodhi tree where he accomplished Buddhahood. Okay, he sat on the vajra seat, meaning you cannot see it. He sat in full lotus. Okay, and on this lotus days place, that invisible to our eyes, but the enlightened beings like the Bodhisattva can see him sitting on this lotus days. That's called the vajra seat. And the countless Buddhas from the 10 directions, the Bodhisattva from all over the universe would gather to listen to this, the ultimate wisdom. Okay, they're also vajra spirits. The vajra spirits are the like the Swiss Guard, if you will. Vajra spirits is like the Pope Swiss guard. In the Vatican, and the Swiss guard is the personal guard of the Pope. It's like 108 of them, or something like that, 118, and they guard the Pope with their lives as their thing. Same thing with Vajra spirits. The difference is that Vajra spirits have tremendous spiritual powers. They are basically invincible, by the way. I once had an encounter with a Vajra spirit, and the Vajra spirit, it's like I was basically a punching bag for the Vajra spirit. Very humbling experience. Okay, the gods gather. So that's chapter 1. We go to chapter 1 later. This is just the introduction to these principles in the sutra. So after this prologue, we can go into the details. So it's important to get the prologue because it will help you have an overview of what the profound teachings are. And then when you go into the details of the chapters, that's the explanation or another aspect or an instance of those profound principles that we talked about. So you won't be surprised. Okay. When I first was planning on lecturing the sutra, I thought maybe I should skip the prologue because I didn't understand it, and I doubt that even I did. Most of you cannot understand it either. But later, I was not as afraid of this prologue. I decided, it's well worth all our efforts. Okay. Again, the emphasis is just to plant the seeds. Don't try to understand too much. Let it come naturally. And so at this in this first assembly here, the bodhisattvas and gods ask with the verses, and the Buddha would emit light and answer in verses. That's chapter 2. And then also chapter 3 to chapter 6. That's the first assembly. And so the Buddha spoke Dharma and has broken into 6 chapters, if you will, in this particular assembly. And then after that, he went to the second assembly. He moved to the Universal Light Palace, meaning the Jeta Grove, where there was, and Manjushri was there. And Manjushri, aided by the Buddha's awesome power, and spoke of the Tathagata's titles to the Bodhisattvas. So basically in chapter 7 here, Manjushri, who's simply a Bodhisattva, but he spoke for the other Bodhisattvas of the names of the various Buddhas. He could only do that through the assisting power of the Buddhas. You see, and that's a wonder right there. You may not have the wisdom, but sometimes these great beings will assist us. Because when Manjushri spoke of this particular chapter 7, it has tremendously, it's beneficial to the Bodhisattvas. That's why the Buddha says, you yourself alone is not enough, so let me aid you to even amplify the benefits of this of your speaking of chapter 7. So that's why they would use the Buddha's spiritual powers to give more wisdom to Manjushri to speak Dharma. So it's no different from the Buddha speaking Dharma himself. And then in chapter 8, Manjushri says that the Buddhist teaching is basically the Four Noble Truths. This is suffering, truth of suffering. Life is suffering. Okay? And then the next truth is the truth of accumulation. He says, this suffering here accumulates layer by layer and layer. Think of it in terms of this lifetime, you suffer, okay? And you create seeds of suffering. Next time you come, in the next lifetime, you add more suffering. So the suffering keeps on piling up and piling up and piling up. Okay? That's called accumulation. The third truth is that their extinction, he says, all the suffering, no matter how many layers you have, there's a way for you to put an end to all this suffering. That's called extinction. And that place where there's no suffering whatsoever is called nirvana. Okay? So that's the truth of extinction. And finally, the fourth truth is truth of the way. Way meaning that this is so Buddhist. He says, if we promise you there's a way for you to put an end to all this suffering and attain bliss forever, how is the way? The way is how you get there yourself. What's the point in knowing about something great if you don't know how to get there? Okay? Buddhas are not snake oil salesmen. They deliver. They don't just sell. They help you gain the benefits, real benefits. And in chapter 8, that's where the Manjushri says, this Four Noble Truths is the core of the Buddhist teaching. And it is taught in every single galaxy in the universe. Each galaxy, the name might differ. Here in our galaxy, Milky Way, is called the Four Noble Truths. But in a different galaxy, it might be called differently. It might have a different name. However, it's the same teaching, if you will. All right? Same exact teaching, just different names, different emphasis. Yes, sir. Microphone, please. Black.
Hello. When I first started hearing about worlds, I would kind of think, like people say parallel universes. I would think that each Buddha world was something similar to like a parallel universe. Is that not the case? Because I've heard you say that worlds are kind of like galaxies. Is there really just one universe, and then all worlds, all Buddha lands are in the universe?
There is no parallel universe. It's a figment of people's imagination to call it parallel universe. Basically, according to Buddha's wisdom, and it's not from me, okay? I'm no authority on this, absolutely, okay? The only person that you can trust when we talk about this topic is the Buddha, okay? All I can do is repeat the words of the Buddha, and because I have no proof, okay? All I have for you is I believe what he said, okay? And I'm intent on myself, verifying for myself one of these days. And if it's not true, I'll be the first one to tell you he's been pulling my legs all this time, okay? If I don't say anything like that, then it's true. Okay, that's how we Buddhists are. We don't say, oh, our Buddha is the greatest, you should have to come and go see the Buddha. He's so, he's so truthful and so forth. No. All he wants us to do is verify for ourselves, and that's it. Okay? Done. You don't have to go back and sell, and say, oh, he's great and so forth. No, it's for you, not for the Buddhas. So far, so good? Okay, so according to the Buddha's teaching, this universe of ours, okay, in Buddhism, the jargon is called Dharma realm. It's infinite. There are an infinite number of galaxies in the universe. I don't care how long, how far the scientists can try to explore, they will never be able to get to the end of it, to the boundaries. It's not possible. Impossible. We don't live long enough ourselves, okay? Or there's any technology available to do that. I don't care how long it takes. Until the end of time, we'll never be able to get to the boundaries of the universe because it's infinite. Okay? So, however, this universe here, as later in the later chapters of this Avatamsaka Sutra, you see this universe, even though it's infinite, actually structured, okay, into like flower sea of the world and so forth. They're actually some kind of structure. And our galaxy, Milky Way, or in Buddhism we call Saha world, okay, is actually on tier 13 of something called flower sea in the world, something like that. So in the structure in the universe, we're there, and 13th tier, and so forth. There's more, okay? So that's why you have this galaxy here and the other galaxy and so forth. And so many of them, it's no need to call them parallel universe. It's just another galaxy, another world, if you will. Buddhist term is world. Layman's term is galaxies. Okay, so there's so many galaxies out there. It's way beyond our imagination. Okay, so they exist by themselves. You don't need to call them parallel universe. They're just there. Okay, as we learn more, it's become clearer and clearer. Yes?
They're all in one universe?
Yes, that's one cosmos, entire universe. And only Buddhas get to see that. We can't. Until you become a Buddha, there's no way for you to see it. All right? Okay, very good. Chapter 9, he says, the Manjushri then says, Buddhas, he has countless vows and practices. Okay, that's how you become Buddhas. You make a lot of vows. I vow to save the ghosts. I vow to save the gods. I vow to save naughty kids. I vow to save the beings in the hells, and so forth. Okay, he made so many vows, and after he made those vows, he tried to realize those vows. And that's how you become a Buddha. So Manjushri says, well, Shakmuni Buddha, in order for him to become a Buddha, in the past, I look in the past, I said, he made these countless vows and practices. And then it's also chapter 10 to 12 as well. And we can go through these, some of these later. Assembly number 3 is in the heaven of the 33. Traya Strimsha is 33, and that's where the Christian God resides. So how did he get up there? He used his spiritual powers. Physically, he was still under the Bodhi tree, but he flew spiritually. He used spiritual powers to go up there. And the God, the Christian God, is called Shakra or Indra. We recognize him. He goes by different names. And Indra knew he was coming. He was forewarned, so he adorned the palace. Okay, it's the same thing, by the way. When the Buddha comes, you better prepare the place, adorn it with flowers and clean and sweep it. Similarly, when you invite a monk and nun over, you're supposed to clean and sweep the house, not leave toys lying around the floor and dishes in the sink that's still not clean yet, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Okay. Anyway, sorry, YouTube has a question.
Tianguo asks, Master, does it happen that when the audience asks great questions or makes great comments, they are assisted by you or other great sages or bodhisattvas present?
I would like to think so, but I have no proof. Thank you for asking. Next, Okay, and then so Indra adorns a palace. This is how you welcome the Buddha. Okay, and then the gods, and he welcomes them with the gods, his other gods, his citizens, as you will, and so Indra or Shakra, the Christian god, praises the Buddha, and that's chapter 13. Chapter 14, following chapter, is the Bodhisattvas from the 10 directions. Each of them praise the Buddha's endless virtues. It's kind of cool, okay? And then chapter 15, chapter 18 as well. Okay. Slide 37, assembly number 4 in the Suyama heaven. Remember, that's the fourth, no, that's the fourth, is it fourth or third? Third desire heaven, third level of the heaven in our desire realm. It's called Suyama heaven. So the king there adorns the palace, greets the Buddha, praise the Buddha with verses, and the Buddha ascends the Dharma seat. Okay? It's like a movie. And chapter 20, Buddhas as many as the sea were there, and the 12 Mahasattvas praise the Buddha. So these great Bodhisattvas, those are almost a Buddha, but not quite a Buddha yet. Okay? And so these 12 great Bodhisattvas, they call Mahasattvas, they praise the Buddha and say, this is what I see, that you cannot see. Okay? Don't they kind of have naps or something after lunch? No. Our Dharma lecture energizes him. You see, when I come here on Fridays, he would come here have lunch with us. And right after lunch, he dozes off. Today, on Saturday, he eats lunch, but he plays during the lecture. He's probably aided by the power of the Buddha, I would think. Okay, so that's chapter 20, and then in this assembly, also the Buddha also spoke more dharmas that was organized or classified into chapter 21 and chapter 22. Next, 38, Tushita heaven, which is the fourth desire heaven. Remember, Tushita is where Maitreya Bodhisattva. Tushita is kind of interesting heaven. It's called a Pure Land, okay? Meaning it's a very desirable place for you to go to after you die, okay? But the Tushita heaven right here, okay, has two areas, the outer court and the inner court, okay? Outer court is fun, okay? It's so much fun up there, okay? And they have a lot of heavenly blessings, heavenly pleasures. But the inner court, that's where Maitreya Bodhisattva is residing and he's speaking Dharma. So if you want to cultivate, you have to go to the inner court. You want to go up there for a visit or for vacation, make sure you book a hotel in the outer court, okay? Don't book the wrong hotels, please. Okay? Be forewarned. Okay. All right. And Tushita heaven, he went up there. So the Tushita, the heaven king, adorns the palace, praises the Buddha, and ascends and requests the Buddha to speak Dharma. Buddha then ascends the Dharma seat. That's chapter 23. Chapter 24. More the praises from 12 Mahasattvas. They praise now the Buddha's merit and virtues. Okay, and chapter 25, there is a chapter, very special chapter, chapter 25. Chapter 25 is the information that you need that you can only find in the Avatamsaka Sutra. What kind of information? Well, Most of you are asleep anyway. I skipped that part. When we get to that, you'll find out it's very, very important information. Okay? Critical information that's only available in Mahayana, not in Hinayana teachings. And this is critical information for, it's like it's our roadmap. Without this roadmap, you have no orientation. You wouldn't know what to do, how to get there. Okay? How basically these transferences are actually the pathway to what? Enlightenment. You want to be enlightened, you need to cross through this territory called transferences. 10 different levels, okay, of transferences before you become enlightened. Interested? You are. Or you have a question? You're interested. You see, that's this chapter only available in this chapter. Okay, it's kind of cool. Are you
talking about fourth stage arhat?
No, much higher, much higher. Fourth stage is like that kid there. Look at that. I'm serious. How much does he know? That's the analogy. All right. Slide 39. The assembly number 6 is a Mani Palace. That's the heaven of comfort gained from our transformation. Mani Palace is, remember, this palace for the king of the heavenly demons. Heavenly demons, kings, they know the Buddha. Okay? Why? Because? Why do they know the Buddhas? Because Buddhas benefit these heavenly kings. That's why they are grateful to the Buddhas, and they know they gain so much out of the Buddhas that they're very grateful. Okay? It's just their secrets. Okay? They're posing Buddhas, but actually they're very grateful. Okay? So in this palace here, and in chapter 6, the Bodhisattva or 10 directions gather. Vajra store Bodhisattva, that's one of a great Bodhisattva, aided by the Buddha's spiritual power, entered great wisdom light Samadhi, so enter Samadhi. By the way, that's how we speak Dharma in Buddhism. Buddhism, by the way, unlike the people who went and earned degrees from Buddhist universities and get PhDs from this and that institution, and they said, I am a man of great learning, I research a multitude of Buddhist sutras, so I'm the authority. No. In Buddhism, in order for you to speak the great Dharma, you need to enter Samadhi. To basically, you're not your normal self. Right? And that's when you speak the Dharma. So the end, this Bodhisattva, Vajrasto Bodhisattva, aided by the Buddha, meaning the Buddha prodded him and said, hey, enter this Samadhi called Great Wisdom Light Samadhi. It's this wisdom here, this Samadhi here enables him to have great wisdom, and with his great wisdom, it radiates, he radiated lights that can be seen throughout where? The universe. That's why he has to be aided by the Buddha. A Bodhisattva cannot do that by himself. This light here reaches to the furthest corners of the universe, everywhere, including our realm. Okay? And those who have conditioned with that Bodhisattva, that particular Dharma, will be able to see the light. Us, we can't, because we're not qualified. We are not good enough. Okay? But it's the light radiated everywhere. Okay, that's this particular samadhi. It's kind of inconceivable state. Okay, much more than you can imagine, much more than you can understand. You see, that's my very point. Do not try to understand, because your understanding is actually confining you to the realm where you can understand only. This sutra is about expanding that consciousness of yours to go beyond your own self-imposed boundaries. Like the engineer says, if I can't measure it, it cannot be true. So the engineer's knowledge is bounded by measuring instruments. Yes? Measuring energy in your fingernails. Okay? So that's a limit of the engineering, what you can measure, okay, physically. But it's more, your mind is a lot more than that, yes? And that's why if you insist on understanding, you insist on facts, measurements, okay, then you are confining yourself to this small realm that's measurable by your instruments, that's measurable by your understanding. Please remember, just because you don't understand doesn't mean it's not right or doesn't exist. A student at the bachelor's degree understanding is only a bachelor's degree understanding, okay? But when you get to a PhD level, it's the same topic, but understanding is quite different, quite a bit larger, quite a bit deeper. Yes? Same concept. All right? So he entered this body and he's praised by the Buddha's 10 directions. And Vajra Bodhisattva exits Samadhi and speaks the 10 grounds. The 10 grounds is one of the gems and the best kept secrets of Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay? All right? 10 grounds are the 10 different levels of enlightenment. When you become enlightened, first level is first ground. Second level, wisdom. Higher, deeper, second ground. Even higher, third ground. Even higher, fourth ground. What can a fourth ground do? We'll find out. Okay? Why is it important? It's important because when you get to the fourth ground and you go back to the sutra here, it says, chapter 26 of the Avatamsaka Sutra says, when you are the fourth ground Bodhisattva, this is what they are capable of. And you said, let's see, Master says, I'm fourth ground. I don't feel anything. But wait a minute. Yeah, I can do that. Not this. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so you see, these sutras serve as affirmations of your level of attainment. You're not impressed. Gosh, I mean, really? You ungrateful people? Thank you, thank you. How many people know this? By the way, this is one way for you to verify yourself. If you think you're fourth stage Arhat, somewhere in the Buddhist teaching it says, fourth stage Arhat is this way, this way, this way, this way. And you say, Master certified me a 4-stage arhat. Let's see. Yeah, I'm that. Yeah, I'm this. Yeah, I'm that. And, fourth one. No, I'm not. Meaning, you haven't quite become aware of it yet. But eventually you see that the Buddha's sutras is so precise. And that's why you don't need to be a 4th-stage arhat. You can get the 3rd-stage arhat. I spoke about this morning. 3rd-stage arhat. I said 3rd-stage arhat. You can stop your thinking, your thoughts of pain, in particular, your thoughts of thoughts of greed. Okay, by entering the samadhi called extinction of feelings samadhi. And when you certify the 3rd-stage arhat, you yourself will say, let's see here. Master claims I'm 3rd-stage arhat. Let's see if I still have pain. I can stop thoughts of pain. So you take a dentist ticking thing, that sharp thing here, and I don't recommend this for you normal people. Okay, but punch yourself in the gum, and before you touch your gum, you say, I'm entering samadhi, I'm entering samadhi, please, praise the Lord, let me have no pain, okay? And if you truly are 3rd-stage arhat, you experience no pain whatsoever. Cool? Can't wait to get the 3rd-stage arhat. Never mind about bodhisattvas. Just 3rd-stage arhat, you begin to have fun already. Huh? Yes, sir. Black.
Right now I have negative. I tell my cousin I have negative samadhi. I'm negative, but like 10 years ago, I was bowing to Guan Yin, and something happened where my mind, like I was just way smarter for like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, and then I felt really good, and I could just think of a lot of creative things. And I was wondering, is that like a taste of samadhi, or what is that? Or is that just like some blessing from Guan Yin?
I never had that experience. About the 1 year and a half, that kind of experience, that kind of fun. But I did try weed once, and it felt good, man.
This was way better.
Way better. Oh, you know?
I know.
I thought you'd be impressed. Shucks. How about cocaine? Kidding, just kidding. Okay. Could be a sort of samadhi. However, if you really enter samadhi, that euphoria, if you will, that bliss, the actual technical term is bliss. The euphoria actually lasts quite a bit. Okay, depending how deeply you enter, how long you enter. Euphoria can last like, for me, at even low levels, would last like I use, for example, I'll give you an example. This is why I got hooked on this, because no one taught me. Okay, my master only taught me to sit for a long time. That's all. He says, sit longer. That's how he trained me. He says, sit longer. So I sat and sat and sat and sat and sat, and longer and longer and longer. That's it. That's all I know about Chan, by the way. Okay, and so I found out that I couldn't sit long because it hurt. It's so painful. I don't know about you, but I didn't like it. It hurt so much. Some of you might like it because you're into pain. I'm not. I hate pain. Yeah. What a disgusting thing to do, inflict pain on yourself by sitting in full lotus. So I sat in full lotus because I was curious. So he said, sit longer. So I sat longer because I cannot go back and complain to him. He says, You told me to sit longer. I sit longer, and then what? No. I am forced to sit longer so that I find out for myself. Why? So I sat longer and longer and longer, unlike, some people nowadays. Are you sure, Master? I sit 5 hours, is that enough? Should I go for 5.5? I didn't have such a luxury. He only said, sit longer. Okay? You want to practice that? Sit longer. And then he died. Who are you going to ask? So, instructions, sit longer. So I sat longer and longer and longer. So I would sit for 1 hour and hour and a half and broke through the first pain barrier. 2 hours and a half, broke through the second one and said, wow, this is cool. Third pain barrier, so wow, this is interesting. Fourth, and so forth. And then I went for 10 hours. Okay, I know for many of you, you're laughing, Master, only sat for 10 hours. Give me a break. And he's a master. Oh, well, you have a master, I didn't. So, sat for 10 hours, and it hurt so much. Okay? I stood up and said, now what? Okay? But I sat up. I stood up and I unbuckled. It hurt so much more when you sit for 10 hours, it's okay. But when you stop at 10 hours and you unbuckle your legs, it hurts so much more than before. Yes, sir? You know what I'm talking about. That's when you don't want to unbuckle. Because it hurts more when you unbuckle. That's a secret. Okay? So 10 hours I hurt, I will unbuckle my legs. My God, I want to go back because it hurts a lot more than now. So, but anyway, it's too late. Okay? Because if I unbuckle up again, I have to go for 10 more hours. Then no way. I have to go, on a date. So I'm sorry, no time. So anyway, 10 hours unbuckle, it hurt so much, and then you get used to the pain subsided, and I drove away, went away. And the funny thing is that in the midst of this pain here in the legs, one thing that stood out more than the leg pains, the sense of calm and peace I've never had before. Never, ever before after 10 hours. With all due respect to my ex-girlfriends, it's better than my, all those dates. Okay? So I said, wow, this is interesting. It's so interesting. This feeling here, never had before. Nothing like it before. Not from drinking, not from stealing, all those things. Nothing comparable. So that bliss and peace, where you feel so at peace with the world. You're not angry when people yell at you. Okay? When people are afflicted at you, you are at peace. Okay? Nothing afflicts you. It's so different of an experience that I say, wow, this is cool. 10 hours, that's how I get there. Okay? And I said, well, 10 hours is well worth it. And guess what? That peaceful feeling lasted for 23 hours, I remember. I said, so pretty good return on investment. You invest 10 hours of hardship, of pain, and you get 23 hours of peace and bliss. So any of you, those of you out there who have demanding wives, try that. You sit for a long time, and you stand up, your wife yells at you, asks for new washer and dryers, you feel so at peace. And you say, oh, you're so unreasonable, but I love you so much. Okay, try that. That's why I assert to you that meditation increases marital bliss. Never mind. Okay, I'm sorry I digressed. So how do you get there? Okay, this Samadhi here. So he spoke the 10 grounds. Okay, so he have to be in Samadhi in order to speak the profound Dharma wisdom. You cannot just use your brains. Okay, and that's the difference between the lectures from these people versus the professors' lectures at universities. Professors don't enter Samadhi. These bodhisattvas, these Buddhas, enter Samadhis. Master YongHua, my late teacher, when he spoke this sutra, okay, he entered Samadhi as well. It's required. Okay. All right. Questions? Next, 40. Oh, we're flying along. Assembly number 7. No questions? Number 7, Universal Light Palace. Again, is a Jada Grove. This is where he spoke chapter 7, 27 to 37. Chapter 27, Universal Worthy Bodhisattva speak of the 10 Great Samadhi Dharma doors. Okay. Number 28, Universal Worthy speak of the 10 spiritual penetrations. If you want to know about the cooler spiritual penetrations, okay, than just seeing someone was a concubine or someone was past Indian chief in Yosemite National Forest. Okay, they're much more interesting spiritual penetrations. Okay, that's the Universal Word he spoke of. And then in chapter 28, chapter 29, he spoke of the 10 patience dharmas. Okay, when you want to become a more patient person, what are the 10 things here that will refine your patience, the nature of your patience. Why is it important? You find out. You practice, you find out. Chapter 30, and the Buddha speaks asamkhya, meaning asamkhya is a huge number. So in this chapter, he's like he threw out, I believe, these big numbers, basically a lot of zeros after zeros after zeros, endlessly. Okay, I remember one of the professors in Berkeley in mathematics came to visit one of Master YongHua's disciples, and a big disciple says, "Oh, so you're a mathematician? Let me tell you. Let me try this on you, mathematicians. This sutra here, read this sutra, and you tell me what you think of the Buddhist mathematics versus your Berkeley mathematics." Okay, and that professor looked at the sutra. He says, "Are you kidding me? There's no way that I can possibly understand these numbers." Okay, chapter 31 to chapter 37 as well. Okay, that's the assembly. And the Buddha spoke these words of wisdom. Slide number 41. Assembly number 8 in Ajita Grove, where only one chapter, where this Universal Wisdom Bodhisattva speaks of instruction for Bodhisattva practices. If you want to practice the Bodhisattva way, how do you go about it? This is explained here in this chapter 38. Okay? Universal worthy Bodhisattva in Chinese, 不贤, 菩萨, 贤, the same 贤 as you level people. Okay? The 贤 there is from this universal worthy Bodhisattva's name, meaning that you level people are called 贤 because you are supposed to practice the universal worthy Bodhisattva's practices of the Bodhisattva path. Got it now? And that's the meaning of the name 贤 that we call you. I call you. Okay? And so you get more details about how to practice the Bodhisattva way. Any questions from JMT? Go ahead.
Hello. So, when you don't have any intention, but
Closer
there's
to your
always
mouth.
good
I
parking.
can barely hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, we
Is
can
it
hear
better?
you now.
When you go anywhere and you have really good parking space, we make joke like a parking ferry, and then you don't have intention to use any ability, and you always find good parking. Is this sort of spiritual penetration?
What? Future penetration and parking space. That's all I got so far. That sounds interesting. Repeat
When
the
you
question.
find the good parking spots all the time, is it sort of spiritual power?
To be able to
I
find
mean,
a
my
parking
point is
spot.
like when you don't.
Do you know why we have audio difficulties? Guess why we're experiencing technical difficulties? What kind of question is that from Korea? You need spiritual penetration to find a good parking spot? Excuse me? Is that what you heard too?
Say that when she goes somewhere and she's out unintentionally, but always getting nice.
Always got a good parking spots.
Yes.
What kind of car were you driving? If you drive anything less than a Porsche, you don't deserve a good parking spot. So, meaning that if you drive a cheap car and you find a good parking spot, it's no spiritual penetration in my humble opinion. It's sheer luck. Some people are so lucky. Okay? However, let me ask you, ma'am, would you rather use that luck in finding parking spots or the winning the super lotto? Okay.
So I think my question is not phrased right. So
Oh, excuse me.
It's not that like I want to use the power. Whenever we go somewhere, there's a good parking automatically, without wanting it. It happens so many times, without wanting it. When you don't have any intention to want it, and then
And it happens. Yes? Is that right? We lost
Is it
audio. You
still-
see, again, we have so frequent technical difficulties. Maybe you shouldn't be discussing this topic.
yeah. So even though you don't have any intention to use any power, and then if something like that happens, is there still spiritual power they're using?
Okay. This person is very insistent. Okay. I'm not sure who she's referring to, herself or someone else, we don't know. Okay? However, from a bystander perspective, okay? If, in my opinion, if you really are not looking for a good parking spot, and you consistently find a good parking spot, okay, you would not take it. If you took it, that means you're subconsciously in your parallel universe, really deep down, you want a good parking spot. Profound? Thank you. Please. Thank you. Hey, old man, are you listening? You see that? Huh? Do you believe people say, I'm not looking for a good parking spot? Oh, here's a good parking spot. Let's park here. And it happens again. Oh, I'm really not looking for a good parking spot, you know. I'm not really looking for it. But as long as here, I park it. Because people say, you must be stupid. You don't take it, right? Someone else will. Right? Yeah. But my point is, if you really are not looking for a good parking spot subconsciously, you would not even take it. You say, I'm practicing the Bodhisattva path, universal worthy Bodhisattva path, these Bodhisattva conducts and practices. Then that practice is one of the practices to yield good parking spots. I swear to you. You believe? Okay, I take it back. YouTube question.
Yeah, Tianguo asks, Master, do you enter Samadhi every time you speak Dharma or Sutra to us?
I would like to think so, yeah. Thank you for asking. In fact, can I remind you that somebody opened their eyes and saw Master YongHua entering me? As a citation, I cite that, you know. A person could swear on the Bible that she saw Master YongHua as I was here speaking Dharma here in this very place. I swear to you. She says, I could swear to you. I was listening to you speaking Dharma, and I saw Master YongHua behind you and slowly disappear into your big body. Because I'm bigger than Master YongHua, by the way. Impressed? I mean, it happens. But thank you, Tianguo. I'm liking her more and more recently. Her questions, I mean. Wei Mount has a question.
네, 아까 한국에서 말씀하신 그 분의 글쎄 제 생각으로는 좁은 생각으로는 인과법이 아닐까 생각이 듭니다. 자리가 항상 있다는 게 그분이 항상 누구한테 양보를 많이 해주고 이렇게 항상 그 양보를 많이 해주고 그분이 그런 잘한 인과법으로 그렇지 않을까 그런 제 소견입니다.
Master, I would like to give some comment about the Korean question. I think the reason she got the good parking lot is because of the cause and effect. Maybe she must yield before many times, many times. So that's why she got always good parking lot.
Yeah, possible. What did she do? Can we get that straight? What did she do exactly? Let's investigate this Dharma. What did she do? What does he really think she did? What did she do?
글쎄 그 양보를 딴 분한테 많이 잘하고 베풀고 인과법으로 그게 그렇지 않을까요?
She must yield many things and then give many things to other people.
Oh, possible. The Koreans cover for each other. You should know that by now. They stick together. Unlike you Chinese people, you have Taiwanese versus Chinese. The Koreans, North and South, they're stick together, I heard. Okay? So, Lily is from the South and the other one is from the North. That's very, very possible. It's called, I think what Lily is referring to is having good parking spots, blessings. Okay? She somehow managed to plant a lot of good parking spot, blessings. Or, what's another way? If you're curious, I will show you how the good parking spots in the future times, lifetimes. Okay, so that you cannot come back and complain to me, how come I do this and I don't get any good parking spots? I said, not yet, but you will. How? If you give someone a ride, instead of driving him to Home Depot, and again, Home Depot people, okay? You drive to Home Depot, instead of parking very far away, okay, and then walk to the front door, you drop by the front door and ask your passenger, would you like to get off? And you say, no, I don't want to get off. You said, please get off because you don't have to walk that far. Okay, let me park the car and I join you later. Okay? There's no reason for all three of you to walk so far away. The parking lot is full. And the best parking spot is taken up by Xian An already. You know? So let's do this. You get off here, right by the door, a lot closer than Xian An's parking spot. You're right by the door there. Okay? And you go in, and I park the car and join you later. Anyone did that? Ah, my friend, me too. And we are destined to have great parking spots in the future. Agree or disagree? Remember, the closed parking spots because you don't have to walk very far. Yes? So that's a blessing of not having to walk very far to the front door, Home Depot. So what you ought to do is drive a lot of people to the front door of the Home Depot and drop them off. And what's going to happen? In the future, you can park right in a handicapped parking spot, very close to Home Depot with that, handicapped placard from your mother. Asians do that. Did you know that? It's an Asian thing. In my area, down south, it's not up here. I don't know how it's like up here. Down south, in my area in Rosemead and Monterey Park and our Asian market area and restaurant area, even these people up north here have to go down there because known that we have great restaurants, Asian restaurants. It's that famous. And the parking lots on weekends are always full. I don't know where the Asians came from. On a weekend, it's impossible to park. And you go there to these parking lots, every single parking lot, I swear to you, Yunga, it's every single parking lot on weekends, Saturday and Sundays. That's before the COVID-19 thing, okay? It seems like on weekends, all the Taiwanese and the Chinese and the Malaysians, whatever, all the Asians, go to eat and go shopping. And that's why you go to these shopping centers, Asian shopping centers, it's impossible to find a place to park. You have to park so far away. Okay? However, you park so far away, you still have a hard time finding a parking spot. You keep on driving around. Eventually, you get outside of the shopping place parking, and you park on the street, and you walk back to the supermarket. And right there in front by the entrance, there's an Asian guy who just pulled in the handicap parking, okay? And he whipped out from his glove compartment a handicap sign, put it on his rearview mirror, and walks into the store by his own power. Okay, and that's what I have proved. You see, Daniel, this is why we eventually, in the future, you and me, we have those privileges. You agree or disagree? You think these people can get these black cards just like that when we can't? Wait, my own question.
Oh, Master, I have a related question on parking lot. Well, because I have such a new and nice car and cute car, so I always try to park very far away. Nobody gonna hit my car. But for some reason, I always find car parking right next to my car every time. So what was that karma that I did that was so bad that caused that to happen to me?
You're a special situation, my friend. Let me explain. It's not you. It's the passenger. It's the Catholic guy you keep on giving a ride to. Okay? He used to harass people. He used to have road rages. Okay? Throw road rages at people. And that's why now he can't drive anymore. And people would come harass him. That's what I believe is the case. Any other words of wisdom you'd like me to share with you? Okay, for the person who originally opened the floodgate on parking privileges, yes, Wei Mountain question, and then I finish my thought later. Go ahead.
Master, is there a way in Buddhism to plant the seed for having a successful job?
Having a successful job. The only successful job in my entire career is to become a monk. It's the one profession that I stuck around the longest in my entire life. So I strongly advise you to consider that option. Anyone else? Anyone else wants career advices? Yes, Blue.
Master, I just want to share my story. So when I went to work, I parked very close. One time I saw an old man walking with his walker from far distance walking, and it scared the heck out of me. I feel so bad parking so close, and this old man have to park so far. So from that moment on, I parked far away, and then everywhere we go, we get really good parking, and I thought it's probably because I have been doing things so that I get that close parking. But then I realized it wasn't me, it was my husband, because he always, from your lecture today, I realized it was my husband. 'cause
Yeah,
he
he's so
always-
petty, isn't he?
No,
He says he wants the advantages.
No,
Yes?
no, it wasn't me who get the lucky parking. It was for my husband, because everywhere he go, he always drop people off, and then he will go. Really far away. Yes,
Thank
so-
you so much. I love
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
I just made it up, and somehow it's true.
No, it's true. My husband is always drop us off, and it was from him, but it's not from us.
Oh, bless you, my child. Bless you. And you know, Daniel, I swear to you, we're going to have that handicap placard. It's coming. Because that's true, so is the next prediction.
I'd rather not have my mom or something.
Well, it could be your aunt or someone else's mom. Yeah. The point is that someone else would loan you that thing. Yeah. It's so handy. Can you imagine? I remember this old monk here. He has a handicap thing. He would not loan it to me. He never offered it. It's disgusting. So I realized then, I said, it means I haven't dropped people off close enough in front of the Home Depot, okay? But he says, I have this handicap thing, okay? Is it him or my mother or something, who also refused to give it to me, her handicap placard. But apparently one of these two people, they said that, you know, you're laughing right now, right? You're complaining, but you know what? We're from down south in Los Angeles, and we drive up here to San Francisco, Chinatown. Okay? Chinatown here, it's impossible to find a parking spot. Okay? I remember years ago, we go into Chinatown and you go into this public parking on the weekend. So you have this, I don't know, you noticed that? There's this Asian guy who seems like he practices Kung Fu or something. And he waves people in, hey, you, next, And we were behind this car of white people, and it's that white person's turn, but he said, he waved us in. I swear to you, that's when I was so proud to be Asian. Those good times. And it's funny, and those people, you can tell they're so white, and they say, and they're so like, oh, they sit there and wait, probably from Midwest somewhere, Chicago or somewhere. They sat there and waited, and the guy keep on. Never complain. Prior lives, these white people probably were white sheep. Anyway, where were we again? Okay, so thank you, bless your heart. Oh, that's a beautiful thing, huh? Remember, so today we agreed on this Dharma, drop people off in front of Home Depot. That's all we have to do. However, can we be serious for a moment, please? Okay. We are discussing very profound Dharma here, not parking spots, please. How did we ever get here? Is baffling. Okay. This particular person who started it, who says, I really am not looking for a good parking spot, but it keeps on happening. Huh? I let you in on a secret. Be careful. You don't have to say, I am looking for a good parking spot, okay? But if subconsciously you tell yourself, I do feel like walking too much, okay? And this particular person has enough blessings, that alone there, she thinks that she's not looking for a good parking spot, actually is disguised as, I'd rather not walk too far. That's why she can honestly tell herself and us that she's not specifically looking for a good parking spot, but actually it's the desire to say, it's such a waste of efforts, to walk so far and so forth. Okay. That will manifest as consistently finding a good parking spot without having to drop people off in front of Home Depot. That's the second way. I'm serious about this time. Okay, the Home Depot is just a joke. But I lucked out. But this is real, okay? You have these subtle desires that is not specifically a good parking spot, but that ends up in a good parking spot. Okay, and that's why I said earlier that if you didn't subconsciously want a good parking spot, and it's not that important to you, then you would not take it. Meaning that subconscious, that hidden desire you have, okay, is what drives you for that to happen. Be careful. Okay, so the Bodhisattva path, this young lady here, is to yield and not take the good parking spots. That's what I would do. All right? Again, how do we get to the parking spot Dharma? Okay, next. So chapter 38 is kind of cool. Yes, Jewel Mountain Temple, a follow-up question, I'm sure, about the parking spot lady.
So for example, if I drive master and then we go to a place, and then if there's a really good parking, we park far away.
Absolutely. Ching, there should be like a halo. Okay, next, 42. Assembly number 9 is chapter 39. Chapter 39 is one of my favorite chapters. Why? It is called Entering the Dharma Realm. Okay? That is where it tells a story of how a youth by the name of Good Wealth, and he started practicing at a very young age before he's spoiled, so he's pure, and he practiced the Bodhisattva way, and Manjushri Bodhisattva taught him, he says, you should go south and look for teacher so-and-so. So he moved south, he traveled south, met a teacher, and the teacher taught him his practice and says, I got to first ground position by doing this, by contemplating, practicing the Samadhi of the ocean. I forgot the name exactly. And so he taught young Good Wealth that Dharma and Good Wealth, practice and practice. He certified the first ground Bodhisattva. And after that, that person there then says, Good Wealth, you very good. You accomplish you can do what I can do. Now go further south, go to that place. And Good Wealth follow the directions, okay? And go to the second teacher who taught him how to get to second ground Bodhisattva position. So it's like a beautiful travel story, if you will, on how Good Wealth became and went through the various positions of enlightenment, okay, and became a Buddha himself, okay. And it's so cool. He's like, that's the kind of travel I like to sign up for. If you have a travel agency, and you should consider doing that. Today, we're going to have this special 10 ground tour, okay? and you go to these places and meet these great teachers. And it's kind of cool. And everyone loves it because it's fascinating how you go through the journey and how he became enlightened and so forth and learned from these great teachers. And the underlying story is not well explained. And I'm getting old, and at the rate we're going, we're now on slide 42. You know how many slides I prepared so far for this? 300 plus. It's going to take us a few more years to get there. So we may not be able to get to chapter 39. Conceivable, yes, unless we skip. Okay? It's just in case we don't get to study chapter 39. Okay? Let me tell you, to me, the lesson the Chinese didn't tell the people. Would you like to know that? You do? Huh? Would you like? Because Master Xinhua explained that. He said, oh, this is wonderful. He taught so many wonderful, wonderful things in this chapter 39. When he explained it, I read it. I said, wow, this is fantastic. But then now, today, here, after a wonderful lunch, I have the inspiration. I said, wow, chapter 39 is not about travel. It's not about travel agencies. It's not about package tours. What is the most important lesson? One of the most important lessons in chapter 39. Would you like to know? Just in case we don't get to investigate it. I tell you what, let me write it down in my notes. Just in case we don't get to explain it, I will leave it in my will. And I will read it to you. This is my bequeath to you. The important lesson on chapter 39. Is that okay? Is that good for you? You say yes to everything. No wonder. No wonder your husband loves you. YouTube question.
Ha Yun asks, I am just curious about Heaven's God. I heard Sakra, the 33rd Heaven's God, has a limited lifespan. That heaven is in the desire realm. So what kind of samadhi level does this Heaven's God have?
0. But don't tell Daniel that. He's listening. Okay? In that desire heaven, they don't have samadhi, but they have tremendous blessings. It's like samadhi is like your own power, but blessing is like money power. You cannot fly, but you can fly airplanes, and you can hire pilots and stewardesses. It's the same as flying. You understand? That's the analogy. You like? I make up answers. Just don't take it literally. Okay? So, in theory, these gods, heavenly beings in desire realm, their spiritual penetrations come from blessings, not come from samadhi power. When you develop samadhi power through your spiritual practices, whether you're meditating, reciting mantras, and so forth, eventually you have these spiritual powers. You can fly, you can do those things down the road. Okay? But that's a natural spiritual penetrations that you will have through your samadhi, your concentration power. But the gods in the desire heavens, they got those abilities through their blessings. That's all. Wei Mao, question.
Hello. I disagree because.
You disagree or agree?
Yes, disagree.
You agree. Very good.
No, I disagree.
I heard you. You agree. Yes.
Yeah. No. Wait. Because when heaven is not about desire, it's about praising God and helping others. So it's not about desire or what you want. It's more about helping others, and that's what I think it is, or what the Bible says about it when it talks about heaven. So that's why I completely disagree.
Yes, we understand that you disagree. Doesn't mean that you're right. You too, next. You see, that's Buddhism. We embrace disagreements. We are undaunted by disagreements because you know more. Go ahead, YouTube question.
Tiangao asks, Master, how do you convert blessings to Samadhi power?
Beats me. Give me some time to do some more research on that. Okay? I just accrue blessings first, just in case I don't have Samadhi power. I still got born, would be born to the heavens and have the same powers as God. Okay? Would be cool. I'd love to go for a tour on that heavenly demon palace too. I heard it's, definitely worth taking a look. Anyway, so we only have a few more minutes. Okay, maybe one exactly. Can I tell you? Because I'm lazy. I don't feel like typing notes. To me, the quintessential lesson in chapter 39 is, oops, time is up. No? It's okay to extend it a little bit? Okay. Next time is 43, okay? Hey, you people, remember. The quintessential lesson that the Chinese don't stress, I like to stress to you, is that what good wealth achieved is extraordinary. Agree? To do what he did is incredible. Okay? He got such great benefits. He accomplished such incredible, inconceivable feats. How? How did he do that? Let me tell you how. You want me to tell you, right? Okay. By? Did you raise a question, sir? You sure? I thought you... by following your good, knowing advisor's instructions. He listened to Manjushri Bodhisattva, who says, if you want to become a Buddha, this is what you ought to do. Go there, ask him. So he went there and asked him. I said, okay, you're sincere, so I teach you. After he accomplished the Dharma door, that teacher says, very good, you don't need me anymore. Now, I want you to go there. So Goodwill says, yes, Master, I'm indebted to you, but goodbye. Went to the second one, practiced, accomplished it. Second Good no advisor says, wonderful. Don't waste your time. Don't hang around here. Go over there. So along the way, he followed time and time again the good known advisors' instructions. He didn't say, why? I don't understand. Why? That's the difference. That's the most, to me, the most important lesson in that chapter. That's a secret. Did you know that? At the ground level, first ground, second ground, third ground, you still are supposed to listen to your good known advisors' instructions. At your level, you say, why? Why? I disagree. You don't understand me at all. Okay. Thank you all. We stop here today. Okay. So